that is, meditation is somewhat similar. If we can't go into the unknown, we can't meditate really. If we stick to what we already know, what we already understand, what we already have as knowledge in our mind, we can never really go into a zone, into a state which is known as meditation. Because it's a state of unknown. It's a state which is beyond the mind, which is beyond your understanding, which you cannot comprehend, but you can experience. So we try to couple these two topics, meditation and death, in a way that we learn a little bit about death, we learn a little bit about meditation. So what we're going to do in this session, in this exercise, is we're going to imagine the very, very last moment of our life. So imagine if this point or a timeline is the last moment which is just hanging on the transition of life and death. We're not concerned about a few minutes before. We don't go into whom we have to say goodbye to, whom we have to, all our assets. We have already transferred everything, we have done our jobs, we have said goodbye to everyone. After that, what happens in the very last moment? Think about it. Are there any desires? Is there anything left in terms of emotions? Is there any thought that is left? If there is anything that is still a little bit before this point where you are on the edge, where you don't know what's next, and you are at that very, very last point. So I want you to go and reach this point in your imagination and try to see what's beyond. How do you feel? What is the experience of this very, very last moment? There's no going before, there's no going after. So don't get caught up with what happens before. Don't get caught up in articulating, I would do this, what happens to my loved ones. Don't get caught up in that kind of a thinking. Then you will miss the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is when you are on that edge, when you have all duties, all responsibilities, you have put them aside. Just think about it. What is left in that very last moment? There's only that last pure awareness about life that is left. Or if there is something else, I don't know. You will explore, you will find out. And then when you reach to that point, you will take a jump into the unknown. What that jump means, for a few minutes, you will absolutely not think about anything. You will forget your body, you will forget your mind, you will forget where you are sitting, you will forget what's outside. Just remain in the unknown. In suspension, but with awareness. Complete suspension of what you all know, or that I am this body, I am this person, all what you know, put that aside. And just remain in that suspension, in that very, very, very last moment. Once you have sat in that for a few minutes, I'll call you back. You're not going anywhere. You're here, but forget about everything else in that moment and stretch that for a few minutes and see how it feels. How we can do this in a technique way is that we will close our eyes. There's no music today, there's nothing. It's all your own internal journey. Forget about everybody else, forget about who's around you. And you will do this with your hands up. Keep your hands up in the air. Not right now, but when you do that. So you'll do that exercise, keeping your hands up in the air. This is a sign of that you're still alive. You're still in the zone of When you do that and you go all the way to, you take your time to reach to that point. Once you are there at that point where your awareness is nicely situated at that point where everything else has stopped for you, you drop your hands. And the way you drop your hands is not slowly putting them down. You will literally drop them. You will leave everything. In that moment, when you drop your hands, it signifies for the next minutes, you do not exist. Try that out. I'll explain you what this means afterwards. There's no danger. It's not that you will die in this moment. It's not like that you would, if you would have that ability to actually die consciously by just saying it, you probably would not be saying it. So don't worry about anything. There is no danger associated with this. If you have any concerns, any questions, we can also shortly talk about it before we go into this experiment. Please do this with full sincerity, and I can promise you when you will come back, you will have lots of insights about yourself. So with that, I would suggest that we close our eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths, just to relax your entire body and be here. Relax your shoulders, your face. Keep your spine erect. last moment. The very last moment of your life. In this moment, there are no thoughts. No emotions. No desires. You're all alone. You don't know what's coming next. You're ready to leave your body. You're ready to put aside your mind. You're ready to take your last breath. Completely empty. The drop is ready to merge back into the ocean. You are at the edge of the cliff. Fall. Don't touch your body. Don't touch your mind. And now up, now down. Neither inside nor outside. Don't touch your body. Don't touch your mind. Just remain suspended. Somewhere in the unknown. You know everything. Remain untouched. You are not the body. You're not in the breath. You're not the mind. Remain silent. Whatever is moving is not you. Stay in this unknown, this emptiness. And bring your awareness back to the body. Feel the sensations. In your hands, your legs, in your head. Keep your eyes closed. If you want to move your body, stretch your legs. Keep your eyes closed. Gently and slowly, you may open your eyes. Did anyone die in the process? No. So we didn't lose anyone. We spend usually the next minutes, if you have any questions, if you would like to share your experiences which might help other people. How do you feel? Do you feel bad? Do you feel good? Anything as a concern that came to your mind while you were doing it? Or you would like to do it next time and you want to clarify? We have some minutes.
I think when you raise your hand, focus on it hurts and then you lose your concentration.
Okay.
So that's what. So I lost, let's say my concentration because my hand was aching a lot. So my hand was going very constantly. So I lost some, let's say, critical moments.
The purpose of having your hands raised is to keep yourself alert. If you would put your hands down, you would start thinking about your office or something else. So to build that intensity for yourself and alertness that right now you're not doing anything else but just this, that's one way of doing it. And of course when you do it at home or alone, you do it at your own pace. If you feel at some point of time that you're ready, you let them fall. And if you think you don't need to raise your hands, you can put yourself into that imagination without any sort of prop alone. It's also fine. But the idea is to reach to that point and jump. There has to be a way to tell yourself that's it. You know, the transition or that sudden shift happens in many different ways. What we did here was just with the hands. It is also done with while you're standing. And you imagine, and comes a point you drop, you fall on the ground, absolutely. And that can hurt as well, but the purpose of the exercise suddenly is more painful. So today when you stand up and fall down here, I don't want you guys to get hurt, but Hands is one way. You can think about why we're doing it and use another way which makes sense for you. Yes, explain. What do you want me to explain? So there are so many different aspects of it. I mean, one aspect is just the sense of death. It relieves a lot of anxiety, a lot of course, it pushes you first of all into that uncomfortable part or zone of that thought process, and then it releases that anxiety once you have lived it, once you have gone through it. What else? What significance it has with meditation is, as I said earlier, I hinted this earlier, that in meditation, unless you reach to a point where you have completely let go, where you have no more control, where you are not trying to take over any control. Very similar to death, where you know for certain that it's not in your control. So that's why it's a very strong comparison. There's a very strong correlation in the state. Of course, in death, you don't come back. In meditation, you come back, and when you come back, you come back from the unknown. And another thing is we live so much in the known, in the rational world, that our mind is constantly holding on to the rational. And life, if you see, is, and I'm now philosophizing, is a lot of irrational as well. All significant things in life are not just the rational. The rational we operate during our daily life, our practical life, but the irrational part is where all the beautiful things of life happen. The love, or any significant things that you must have recalled in your life, they did not happen rationally. They all suddenly happened out of somewhere. So it's another way of forcing yourself to move from the rational to a few moments of irrationality. It may sound illogical, it may sound woo-woo or whatever, but unless we allow ourselves to spend a few moments, we will go mad completely if we just are always rational, if we are always in control of things with our mind. There is a certain tiredness that keeps on building up, and the moment you allow yourself a few moments of silence, you see you will fall asleep, or you will realize that how tired you are. So it's just another strong aspect of life which reminds us of the irrational dimension and of us letting go as much as we can for non-practical things of life. Anything else? Anybody had a weird experience or? Yes.
I was very surprised by something, and in this moment where it's about, like, just before you die, I felt a really deep sense of relief, because I would always, when I imagine myself dying, I would always imagine I'm alone, I'm going to meet somebody, what is still going on there. And in that moment, just before dying, I allowed myself not to care about it anymore, because now, sorry, I know I'm dying or something. And yeah, that wasn't even sad, it was really, I think.
That's exactly the point of it. That when you are beyond the sadness of it, beyond any kind of emotion associated, any kind of connection, any kind of, whatever you have with this world, you break apart and just that you get that one pure moment of awareness before it's all over. So you don't need to is that. But exactly if you bring that pure moment of awareness where you're not concerned with anything, you're not, it's not that you will become numb. That's not the point of it. But it's a release, it's a relief in a way that you, for a few moments, you are not concerned with anything. And that's the whole point of meditation. That is what meditation is. So if you can remember that little sense of relief, that sense of, or that taste of letting go, and you bring that into your meditation, you sit down every day, and if you can, even for a few minutes, just taste that without even having to imagine your death every day, you will see it brings so much in terms of just from relaxation to complete transformation of your psyche, of your mind and energies. But thanks for sharing. One last question, if anybody has any comment, anything which bothered you during the session?
I have to jump to the left. Is there so why couldn't I go jump just like?
Oh, you could go in the front as well.
No, I couldn't go.
Yeah, it's.
No, that's only someone does it. Something like that. So.
You mean jumping to the?
Just go in another direction than the most obvious would be just.
I think that's not so significant to jump in the front or on the right or on the left, as long as you can, mentally put yourself into that space which is suddenly an unknown. So that unknown could come in front of you. If you are not able to jump in the front, mentally jump on the left or jump on the right, it doesn't matter. The point of the whole exercise is that you finally put yourself in an unknown, in a let go, in a situation, in a surrounding where you finally have no control, neither of your body nor of your mind, and you can't figure out what's going on. And there is no point of figuring it out, and then you let go. That's today's session. If there are no more questions, I thank you once again for being here, for having and sharing the moment of silence and this experience with me. I hope to see you next Monday once again. Have a great week.